When I got started with Paidoff, I wasn't sure what to expect, mostly because I didn't know anyone who had this type of loan, and I couldn't find any reviews, whether on YouTube or Reddit or Google. But surprisingly, the process was actually very simple. I want to share my experience with you because there were quite a few things I learned along the way that you'll want to know right off the bat, especially if you're already in the process of getting paid off. Let's get into it. There's something that I really think is super important. See, when you close with paid off, they're going to set up a special meeting with the lender. And I've refinanced multiple times, and I've never had this experience before. But what they do is they get a meeting with you and the lender who goes over the loan, make sure that you really understand how it works, and if you have any questions, they're there to answer them. And this is really awesome because it gives you the opportunity to pick their brain on things you didn't understand. I know as an engineer, I asked them all sorts of questions and probably drove them nuts. But it really made me feel comfortable as a homeowner to be able to talk with the lender and make sure that I was absolutely comfortable with the loan. The other thing that I want to mention is that I've probably already called them at least a half a dozen times. And number one, they answer the phone almost immediately. Secondly, you get a professional lender on the phone who really knows the product. And on top of that, they have been so helpful answering my questions about various aspects of the loan, how to wire money, tax information, just been phenomenal. I cannot speak high enough about their customer service. Okay, so what can you expect that first month? Okay, so number one, you're going to go through a closing, and it's not going to be any different than any other closing. You're going to sign your name 100 times, and that's about it. Then within a week or two, you're going to get a welcome package from the bank. It's going to have your checking account number, it's going to have your routing number, and it's going to have your new loan number. So expect that within the first week or so. Now, I highly recommend that you keep your current bank account for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's going to take a couple weeks, maybe even a month, to transition your paychecks into this new checking account. So you're going to need your existing checking account for things like paying bills, out and around town, getting money and whatnot. You're going to need that. Secondly, you probably have a lot of automated payments that you're not even aware of. So it's going to be very helpful to keep that checking account so you can monitor the bills that are going out and then move them over to your new checking account, which again has bill pay. You can automate your bills. You're going to want to definitely keep an eye on that. Secondly, you're going to want to have that local checking account because you're going to need money for around town. And if you watch my video on how to turbocharge this loan, you want to try your best not to use the debit card that comes with this new checking account so that you can keep the balance as low as possible. This means you're going to need what I call petty cash for things around town, like going to the movies, maybe going out to eat, writing a check for your kids' soccer, you name it. So I actually worked with my HR, and I have a small amount of money that gets put into that checking account every paycheck so that I just have money to use whenever I need it. And then lastly, eventually you're going to pay off your home, so you're going to need that checking account because you're not going to continue to send your paychecks and your other deposits into your HELOC once you pay off your home. This moves me into point number 3. If you have rainy day funds, money that's sitting in a checking account that you're just saving it there just in case you have an emergency, or maybe you have a savings account, you want to move that money over into this new checking account as soon as possible so you can put it to work and start lowering your home balance. But before you do that, give this new bank a call and get the transfer limits set up properly. I think when I first started, they had a limit of $2,500 a day for a transfer. So I had to call them up and get them to adjust that limit up to $25,000 so that I could quickly transfer my money over and it wouldn't, take weeks to do that. So you'll definitely want to look into that. Okay. So in the new bank account, you're going to want to link your current banking account, like your local banking account, to this new bank account. And there's a reason you want to do that. It's going to allow you to transfer money back and forth, and that's helpful for a couple of reasons. So if your local bank account gets low because you've been spending some money around town, you can move money from your HELOC over to your local account. I wouldn't suggest doing that. I would probably, go the route that I took and have your, HR put a little bit of money into that account every so often. But it is useful to be able to have the ability to do this. Secondly, in my scenario, sometimes I don't use the money in my local account for a couple months because I'm just not spending anything around town. So that account grows over time, and having the two linked allows me to transfer some money from my local account over to my HELOC when that account grows a little bit larger. So I highly suggest doing that. It only takes a minute or two, and it definitely has some benefit to it. Okay, point number 5, and this is one that was kind of weird for me because I'd never experienced this before, but because you are getting a first position HELOC, you no longer have to escrow money for taxes. Now, it's pretty awesome because normally when you're escrowing money, it just sits in that account all year long until you actually need to pay taxes. Now you don't have to do that anymore, but you do have to realize that at some point you are going to have to pay those taxes. So you're going to want to look at your tax statements and understand how much that's going to be on a yearly basis and be ready to pay for it. It wasn't a fun experience the first time I had to pay taxes by myself because I didn't have that money escrowed away, but you get used to that pretty quickly. And it also allows you to use that money throughout the year rather than having it just sitting in some account. The other thing that is very important is you're going to want to call your insurance agent because those escrows usually also pay your insurance. And so you need to get on a payment plan with your insurance company too. Really easy, quick call. Just make sure you do that. You want to make sure your insurance is getting paid for. Okay, number 6, when you log into your new bank account, I would say like 99% of the time, it's going to show a balance of 0, which was really odd to see, and I don't want you to freak out about that. But the reason it's going to show 0 most of the time is because every night, whatever money is in there gets swept into your HELOC. And I just want to bring this up because I remember the first time I logged in, it made me super nervous that it said 0, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go pay bills. Like, I'm going to overdraft my account. But no, it's set up in a way that you will not overdraft. It just automatically pulls from your HELOC and pays your bill or, buys your groceries. So don't really worry about that. The other thing that's weird when you log into the bank account is you'll actually see 2 accounts, which kind of threw me off at first as well. The first one is your actual checking account, and that one's going to pretty much be 0 all the time. And then the second one is your HELOC account, and that's where you're going to watch, your outstanding loan balance of what you have remaining on your home. So you will see 2 accounts there. Okay. Number 8, what I think you probably should do, and I found it very helpful, is to get yourself a budgeting tool, something like Mint, to track your spending, because this is a completely different way of spending your money and utilizing your money. You're not going to be able to log into your checking account and see like, oh, how much money do I have? Because it's always going to show 0. And what you don't want to get into the habit of is spending more money than you're making. So you definitely want to get a budgeting tool, I would say at least that first year, so you really understand the money coming in and the money going out, and making sure that you're saving more than you're spending. Okay? Point number 9, your interest rate is going to change every single month, whether that's up or down. Don't freak out about it. That's just how it works. Even if it's going up, not a big deal. I've got some videos here that you can watch that will give you more information on why that's not a big deal, and it will actually show you that in my case it didn't matter at all. I was still very successful with this product because at the end of the day, it's about paying down your balance in really big chunks, and then the interest rate, it really has nothing to do with it. But just be aware that every month they're going to recalculate the interest rate, and it's probably going to change whether that's up or that's down. Okay. Point number 10, you're going to see your principal balance drop in a very, very large chunks. And in fact, if you follow my advice again in that video about turbocharging your Paidoff loan, it's going to drop even faster. So definitely you're going to be shocked that first couple of months watching your loan balance drop. Okay? Point number 11, you're going to be able to write off all the interest you pay monthly on your taxes, which is really awesome. Just wanted to throw that out there. And number 12, kind of like my last point here, you might become a little bit obsessed with saving more money once you see how awesome this product works. I mean, I can't tell you how crazy it is to log in and see your loan balance dropping in huge chunks every month. And, it can be so mesmerizing that there have been times where I personally thought to myself, I could take that really nice vacation, or I could pay my loan down faster. So if you get there to that point and you're kind of getting a little obsessed with it, that's totally fine. Some people love just paying this thing down like crazy, but also make sure you're enjoying your life a little bit too, because the goal of this loan is to take you from like a 30-year loan down to like a 7-year loan. So make sure to still take those vacations, spend some quality time with your family. This loan is definitely going to get you where you want to be in a short amount of time, even if you take a vacation. So to summarize things, it's an amazing product. I hope these things that I've shared here will be helpful to you. I really didn't have any of this information going into it. And if you have any other questions or concerns, please let me know in the comments. I'll try to address them as soon as I can. And if this helped you, subscribe. Keep following me. I'm going to be going through this process for the next few years and hope to be able to pay my loan off here in the next 5 years and share with you how it goes.